This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. The UT experience begins with an innovative first-year program and continues with opportunities to challenge yourself in the honors program, to study abroad, to conduct research with faculty, to do an internship, to volunteer in the community, or to participate in multiple leadership programs. Explore your dreams, discover your talents, get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
And we are back at the Namoli Family Stadium. I'm Taylor Storley alongside Bruce Wozniak. And Bruce, the Spartans softball team is back. Home after a longer road stretch.
Back and undefeated, 5-0 on the season. And interestingly, facing an opponent that also has 5 wins but 7 losses. So Palm Beach Atlantic has seen a lot of action already in 2023.
They have, and that'll be interesting to see whether the extra experience that Palm Beach has had facing more opponents will help them out. And, of course, this is the first Spartans game in nearly 2 weeks. The last time they played was against Wingate, a 5-inning, 9-0 victory. And Palm Beach, they only were playing last weekend on Saturday in their Sunshine State Conference opener.
Yeah, and for UT, we're going to see Mary Beth Feldman in the circle. And really, Taylor, the Spartans are so fortunate. It can roll anybody out there, and already very early in the season, head coach Leslie Cantor has seen that whoever she puts out there is clearly going to get the job done. Just a tremendous start to 2023 by Spartans pitching.
This is a Spartans side that has an absolutely incredible rotation in the circle right now. Mary Beth Feldman, the transfer from Utah last season, lit the Sunshine State Conference ablaze with incredible starts. Ultimately, even putting together a perfect game. Not one that was broken up as a no-hitter. Not one that took 5 innings. A true perfect game. Only the 7th time in Spartan history it had ever happened. And we know just how dangerous she can be from the circle. Her first opponent will be Bear, the second base player. This one taken for a strike. Late movement there, but it did look just down the middle.
And this early in the season, you wonder how a team could have already played 12 games. And, of course, Palm Beach Atlantic from southeast Florida coming up from the West Palm Beach area. So, in a sense, you could say that there's no difference for them. Granted, it's a road game, but used to the weather. 83 degrees, our game time temperature. As you see that next one in there for a strike. And, so the advantage that UT has, the advantage that Palm Beach Atlantic has, is they get to play a lot of games early without having to travel great distances like some of their opponents that come down from the cold weather cities.
Indeed, and in fact, this is actually the first time Palm Beach has actually gone on the road this season. And by the way, it's a 1-2 count. We do apologize getting everything set with the scoreboard early on, as this one's going to be grounded to second, and they will get the quick 1-2. But indeed, Palm Beach, that's one of the perks of being a Florida team. You can have more of these early February games because we're down in such a beautiful climate with this beautiful weather. In the field for the Spartans, we'll quickly mention Chevalier behind the plate, forming the battery at first base. The first base player is Kate DeSimone. Over at second base, making that previous play was Alexa Russo. At third base, Cameron. At shortstop, we've got Stephanie Ballmer. Left field, Lauren Fantone. Center field, Lily Keister. And right field, Mariah Galehouse. And yeah, it was Cameron Whittinger at third base.
Interestingly enough, the way that the Spartans' schedule has unfolded so far through their first 5 games, they technically don't have an away game on their record, even though they're listed as 2-0 at home. It's because 3 of the games were considered neutral site games. So as much as Palm Beach Atlantic has played 12 games, you say UT has only played 5 and 0 as an official away game.
Yep. Really fun to see that, even though they did have the majority away from home. They were part of the weekend series at Soldiers Creek Park. Running catch is made 2 away. That one was going to go to foul territory, but a good run there, I believe, from Stephanie Ballmer to get the second out of the inning.
But Taylor, even though this is a Sunshine State Conference opponent, it's still really important to not overlook these early season games and say, oh, well, it's a long season and file it away. It was back in February, because invariably it comes down to the end of the season and there's a game or 2 here or there that make the difference in the standings that teams look back to something like a February game and say, maybe we were taking it a little too lightly and thinking that we had a long season ahead of us. And every game is important.
I know that's certainly something that Leslie Cantor will be telling the squad. And Tampa has played every game like it's the most important of the season. They have been doing pretty much everything perfectly, from the early season sweep that you were covering solo while I was over watching Tampa's baseball team kick off their season. They took a huge win against number 4 ranked Auburn Montgomery, and West Florida and Wingate went down with an aggregate score of 22-2. And now one more strike would get Feldman out of the inning. Another great start for her from the circle. Let's see if the number 44 for Palm Beach, I'll attempt a pronunciation of that name a little bit later. She will foul it off. Still 0-2.
Yeah, she's really hanging in there, and great start by Mary Beth Feldman so far. And she's kind of set the bar. That's kind of what you come to expect, and still nonetheless great to see if you're a Spartans fan.
Hemenick's going to split the infield and get on base with a single. We saw the infield was playing very far in, and it just was able to get by Russo. Doesn't get far enough for anything else. But Hemenick gets on the board with a single, and there's a runner on with 2 away.
And, you can see Mary Beth Feldman with her body language that she knows that she set the bar high. She's got high expectations for herself, and obviously disappointed to not close out the top of the first there. And so now she'll face Avoni Rodriguez.
Runner goes, and just as quickly as they got on base, they are taken off. The great throw from Chevalier catches what would be the first base stealer of the game to end the top of the first inning. It'll be Fantone, Keister, and Russo leading off for the Spartans in the bottom of the first. We'll be back with more Spartans softball right after this.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
And we are back, bottom of the first inning. Spartan softball had a strong start. They conceded an infield hit that just barely got by Russo, but immediately they got out of the jam off a great throw behind home plate from Lexi Chevalier.
Lauren Fantone leads things off for the Spartans in the bottom of the first. And so far this season, Fantone, 11 at-bats as she shows bunt there. She's hitting .455. Off to a nice little start.
And .455, a really good average, but weirdly enough, that's only 7 points above the team average. Tampa's bats have been very active to start the 2023 campaign. This one, strike 2 taken. Or is it still 1-1? Either way, we know that previous pitch was a strike taken on that low corner. Arturo fires again. This one fouled away.
It's very early. We're only a couple of pitches into this first at-bat, but it's nice to see a pitcher come in here. I'm talking about Cambria Arturo, who's very efficient in terms of, we see a lot of visiting teams that come through, and you'll see their pitcher look to the dugout, then she'll check the wristband, then she'll check the catcher. And Arturo, very confident, and obviously has her marching orders. And being a senior, obviously she's been there before, so she's got a good handle on things. So a better pace of play as a result.
She's also had a pretty strong start to the season in the circle, a 1.69 ERA, as this one gets by bouncing off the second base player's glove. It was tough for Bayer. That's a hard bounce, and it'll get by her. So it's a leadoff single for Fantone to bring up Lily Keister.
Yeah, when I was a young boy, I was always taught to score those as a hit from the category of too hot to handle. And that's exactly what it was. It was a nice diving attempt that we saw there by Kendall Bayer, the second base player, but a well-struck ball. And the Spartans get their leadoff hitter aboard in the person of Lauren Fantone.
Keister showed bunts, but ultimately pulled back in time. We know Fantone's definitely ready to make the jump and run to second. Tampa hasn't been caught on the base paths this season. And by the way, that'll probably be a commentator's curse. Feel free to quote me on that when eventually Palm Beach does find it this weekend. The count will go 1-1 as this one is taken for a strike.
Lily Keister hitting .538 through the first 5 games by way of 7 hits in 13 at-bats. So as you mentioned, Taylor, Spartans' bats have really been strong in the early part of 2023.
The 1-1, and this one's going to bunt foul. It's 1-2 now. And by the way, we'll give you a quick rundown of the field for Palm Beach Atlantic. Maceda at home plate, forming the battery alongside Arturo in the circle. O'Connor at first base, Byer at second, Rodriguez at third, Rodriguez at short, Waters at third, Rodriguez in left, Hetmanek in center, and Mullet in right. This one fouled away, and nicely caught there by Russo. Russo brings a power bat to the Spartan lineup and will potentially have a runner on base in her upcoming at-bat. The 1-2 one more time. And Keister still fouling it off.
And there is just absolutely no wind whatsoever. Beautiful Friday night here. And, of course, this is the start of a 3-game set. The two teams play a doubleheader here tomorrow afternoon. And a really nice Friday evening for this contest between the Spartans and the Sailfish.
Great job staying alive and getting the pitch count up. Now, of course, I've been coming from a lot more baseball recently, having covered the start of their season. So it's going to take some time for me to get used to saying, oh yeah, on 70 pitches this early, that's not good for a pitcher. Well, no, from the circle, these girls can go so far into these games. I remember during the last year's NCAA tournament, we had a pitcher going for 300 pitches over the span of 24 hours. This one's grounded to third, throw to second, they'll only get the lead runner.
Now, that was an interesting play because the throw to second was outside, and so I think that extra little bit of a lean is what told the second base player, Bear, I'm just going to go for the out here and not even try because the batter is clearly going to be safe at first. So at least as you forecasted before, there is a runner on base for Alexa Russo, albeit maybe not the one that we thought it was going to be, but nonetheless, she's got a runner aboard.
They'll turn one, the throw in time. They turn two, so Palm Beach put out the fire. Unfortunately for Russo, that'll hurt her .385 average entering today's game as we enter the second inning, still tied at 0. You're watching Spartan Softball on Tampa Spartans TV.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push. We're here to play and learn, but most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal.
And we are back at the Namoli Family Stadium. Taylor Storthy and Bruce Wozniak live on this beautiful Friday night. Tampa currently tied as we enter the top of the second inning. Now batting is Rodriguez.
She's hitting .342, and keep in mind that that's through 12 games.
Well, that number will go down a little bit as this one was lined right to Russo, who makes the 4-3 play to get the first out of the inning.
Taking a minute to have a few words with her teammate Dallas Watterson as they cross paths, one going back to the dugout and one coming to the plate.
Well, of course, this is out of the frying pan into the fire situation for Fellman. Voni Rodriguez, the second best average for Palm Beach. And now Watterson leading the best average. A home run and a .526 average through 9 games played. A really good start for her season.
Yeah, 10 for 19 so far through, quote-unquote, just 9 games played out of her team's 12.
I'll say power hitters have a little bit of a disadvantage here at Namoli Family Stadium. Very high outfield walls. You don't always see them hit him over the wall. There was only one regular season home run for the Spartans at their home park. And in the postseason, they actually brought in shorter walls in right and center field, moving it in about 10 feet or so. That allowed us to get some nice little web gem plays of Spartan outfielders going over the walls to make the catches. 1-2 here from Feldman. This one's going to be lined again to Russo. Takes a weird bounce, but a great recovery. And one thing also important to remember, because, again, I'm going back and forth sometimes from baseball to softball. Softballs are larger. They're harder to field because there's more room for them to take a weird bounce, and it's harder for them to exactly fit in the glove. But a great job by Russo after the initial bounce hit off the glove in a weird way to recover and get the throw to DeSimone in time. This one's going to be to Ballmer. It's 3 ground outs to go through the inning. Feldman, 1, 2, 3. And we'll be entering the bottom of the second for the Spartans. Due up will be Winninger, Galehouse, and Chevalier. We'll be back with more after this. Cameron Winninger ready to lead off for the Spartans. The .600 average on the season for the Memphis transfer. I'm excited to see what she can do to lead off the bottom of the second. Arturo still in the circle after a very strong first inning. Conceded the leadoff hit, then got a fielder's choice, and then got a double play.
Of course, with these games against in-state teams,
there's the throw to first, and that's the first out. A good play to pick it up by Watterson.
they do travel well, and so Palm Beach Atlantic has their fair share of fans here in the Namoli Family Stadium tonight, rooting for the visitors.
It's always easier when you just have to travel in-state. It's not that far of a drive, or potentially a plane if you're all the way down from Miami or way up north. But Palm Beach a little closer. So definitely expect to see plenty of those fans in attendance throughout the weekend as this first pitch to Galehouse goes low. Galehouse, the number 5 hitter for the Spartans, really good season so far. Hitting .692 and also no earned runs on the mound or circle. I mean, I called her the Shohei Ohtani of the Spartans last year, and she is continuing to put up video game numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those who might be new to Tampa Spartans softball, Mariah Galehouse is very much a double threat, meaning as a pitcher and absolutely in the batter's box as well.
A 2-1 count for Galehouse, fooled by the off speed there. But indeed, one of the best players on the Spartans roster. The type of player who could do literally everything.
Hitting out of the number 5 spot in this game, and this is about usually where we steer her, number 4 and number 5 in the order, because of what she can do offensively.
The count will go full. The first time we're actually going to see a full count. Usually, the at-bats so far have been pretty quick. They've gotten quick ground outs or any other ball in play. The only previous long at-bat had come from, I believe, Keister, who fouled off 5 or 6 pitches. Swing and a miss. And you don't always see Galehouse going down on strikes. Arturo, again, a quick start to the inning, 2 immediate outs.
Yeah, you got to give Arturo credit, though. You know, she fell behind in the count 3-1 to Galehouse, and at that point, you start saying your prayers, and she's fortunate there to get the strikeout. And all of a sudden, the Spartans 1 out away from us very quickly, moving into the 3rd inning already.
I'll say sometimes the higher power just has to be locking in, focusing, and getting the final strikes you need. Although Arturo might need to rely on that again. She falls behind 1-0 to the count to Chevalier. And Chevalier is the only other Spartan besides Galehouse to hit a home run this season with a .500 average. This one's going to be dropping in the outfield, but it won't drop quickly enough. Rodriguez makes a running catch. It is 1-2-3 for the Spartans, and we're already entering the 3rd inning. A quick start to the game. We'll be back with more right after this. You're watching Tampa Spartans TV.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question is...
Back live at the Namoli Family Stadium and ready to start the top of the 3rd inning. Palm Beach Atlantic and the Tampa Spartans deadlocked at 0, each team with just 1 hit apiece. Mary Beth Feldman throwing her 21st pitch of the game. As you see, strike 1 there to the number 7 hitter, which is Elisa Grande. And fouls that one back to the screen, 0-2. Very, very fast-moving game thus far, as evidenced by that line score. And here comes Feldman with the 0-2, and that's up high for ball 1. So amazing that starting the 3rd inning, her pitch count was only at 20, and now here's her 1-2 on the way, and that's outside for ball 2. And catcher Lexi Chevalier, I think, was trying to slightly influence home plate umpire Tyrone Miller with the way that she framed that, and I think it was going to be quite a sell because that was outside enough. And that one's right down Main Street, so all of a sudden a full count here, 3-2. And so things have gotten interesting with the leadoff hitter in the top of the 3rd for Palm Beach Atlantic. And here's the full count, and that's going to be ball 4. So Feldman issues the first walk of the game.
That is a tough take on a 3-2 pitch like that. Great work by Grant to get on base to lead it off. That's their 3rd of the season. Just one behind the team lead that's shared across a couple players for Palm Beach.
That'll bring up Bella O'Connor, who's hitting 200 even.
That time the framing works from Chevalier. Looked a little outside, but did the job to get the first strike. I'll see, that's one thing that with robo-umps that you will no longer usually see, the ability to frame a pitch well. That's, I think, underrated art in softball and baseball.
And they seem like they're really keeping an eye on the runner, almost anticipating stolen base attempt.
The runner will advance with no need for a second stolen base attempt. Although I will say, heads up play in the outfield to try to get the throw in time. But Fantone's cannon is still about a second late because that's very easy to get from first to second on a nice hit line drive like that. O'Connor with the second hit of the game for Palm Beach has put the first runner of the game in scoring position.
Palm Beach Atlantic will run too. 15 stolen base attempts already in the young season. So more than one a game in terms of attempts. They've been pretty successful too. 12 for 15 stolen bases so far in 2023.
12 for 16, of course, counting today's most recent caught stealing attempt, but that's still a very good percentage. And they won't be going, but they were definitely looking to try to send them. However, that's going to be harder as Millett falls behind the count 0-2 here after the initial bunt to advance the runners was fouled away.
And I like the way that Palm Beach Atlantic head coach Ty Singleton is calling this game because he knows how powerful Spartan bats can be. He knows that they're 5-0. He knows that he's playing a road game here and just seizing the opportunity that's before them and saying, we got to do something with this now. This game will move quickly along, and all of a sudden it'll be too late if we don't try.
DeSimone gets the lead runner at third by about a step. The third base coach was looking for the safe call, but it wasn't. It was just very close. And it is a fielder's choice, a weird one. 3-5 that would go down in the notebooks. So it keeps the runners at first and second, but heads up play by DeSimone to get the throw to third in time.
That was an interesting play in that you did see Singleton right away signaling safe, and of course the umpire says that it's an out, and it's almost a case of I have to do it. According to softball law, I have to say that my player was safe. And you can tell that he wasn't even going to think about arguing. He was right on top.
What's it you always say? You can't argue with City Hall. This one's going to get through to center field. Runners hold up at second and third. We've got the bases loaded.
Well, you can't fight City Hall, but you can at least plead your case, and he knew enough in that case. But you see Palm Beach Atlantic, things starting to go their way here in the top of the third with only one out and bases loaded. This is a great opportunity for the Sailfish to really throw something at the Spartans that they're not really too accustomed to early in 2023.
And by the way, the Spartans, we mentioned, I think, earlier, or not sure if we mentioned, hadn't conceded an earned run in a game before today. Now they have conceded runs before. Both of them were unearned. But now just 90 feet from home, or I think 66 feet from home, is now that potential opening run of the season that the Spartans will have had earned. 1-1 now. Rodriguez fouled to Balmer last time. And Palm Beach take the lead here as this one gets to center field. The bases will stay loaded. Initially, it looked like they were trying to send the other runner home, Mullet, but they ultimately called her back.
And Leslie Cantor is going to go out and have a word with her pitcher, Mary Beth Feldman. Obviously wanting to settle all the troops down and not just Feldman. What with the visitors taking the lead there and only one out, still bases loaded. So certainly a key time in the game, Taylor, for both teams, and is evidenced by Cantor deciding, all right, let's have a conference.
I think that's important because, again, Feldman's a great pitcher, always does well from the circle, but it's important to make sure she's still feeling okay because just some well-hit balls have gotten past the infield. And, again, not much the Spartans can do on plays like that. There's just very good and solid hitting from Palm Beach. Feldman now just needs to get out of the jam. This one taken for strike one. Just
but
going
certainly
across the corner.
If you're Palm Beach Atlantic, you're loving the opportunity to get in Mary Beth Feldman's head just enough to potentially just take her off her game, just enough to take advantage of it.
Feldman, of course, one of the best pitchers in the Sunshine State Conference, so you absolutely love putting her in jam here and starting to weaken her too, because you're able to get a run past her. It's like the quote from Iron Man 2, if you can make God bleed, no one will believe in him. And in the same way, if Mary Beth Feldman is a pitching god, do you think Palm Beach is going to keep believing after a bases-loaded jam like this? Well, I mean, we certainly do, because we know just how good Feldman can be, even in tough spots, as she now is ahead 1-2, potentially to get her second out on this next pitch. Yes, she will, with her first strikeout of the game.
Nice choice there, that pitch. And Spartans defense can exhale a little bit here. Second out of the inning. Although this is the cleanup hitter now, Avoni Rodriguez.
This one's going to be grounded to Russo, but will make the play in time. Damage is dealt, but kept at 1. The bases were loaded and stranded, and Palm Beach will take a 1-run lead as we enter the bottom of the third. Good job by Feldman to prevent any further damage. We'll be back with more Spartans softball live on TampaSpartans.tv.
NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
Just before we get started here in the bottom of the third inning, I would like to acknowledge the City Hall officials for the game. At home plate is Tyrone Miller. At first base, Pete DeRosa. I want to give a quick shout out and thank you for the Sunshine State Conference umpires for tonight's game. It's always important and easy to forget that these are the guys that help keep the league running. Sometimes people argue about calls, but without them, we wouldn't be able to play the beautiful game. Bottom of the third inning, Spartans trail by 1. Leading off is going to be Carolyn Watson. Ball one taken outside.
Cambria Arturo, pitch count of 23 entering this half inning.
We'll see if the Spartans can replicate what Palm Beach had done to Feldman by hitting around and potentially bringing a run home to tie the game, as Feldman had a similar really strong start with 1 hit conceded, and Palm Beach got the bats alive. Tampa will look to do the same. They've got their 7 and 8, 9 hitters up. This one fouled away, 1-2 to Watson.
Caroline Watson, like Cameron Winninger, see some transfer students, some new faces in the Spartans lineup this season, and it's tough when there's turnover, obviously graduations and the like, and Corinne Miner, a name that we called for so many years and has finally moved on. And these are the players that Leslie Cantor will look at to see how are we going to replace the Corinne Miners of the world that eventually move on from the program. And it's important for these transfer students to establish themselves early as being reliable, being a staple in the lineup, and that's what Caroline Watson's trying to do here, the number 7 hitter, the Spartans lineup in this game this evening.
I'll say Watson, we already saw her take a really good swing earlier. A very hard hit foul ball that I believe had Cantor needing to duck out of the way there. Well, let's see if she can get her bat going here and put a Spartan on base to start the inning. 2-2. That one's high and a full count to open it up. On deck is Kate DeSimone, another two-way star for the Spartans.
And getting back to the top half of this inning, keep in mind that these teams have a doubleheader tomorrow, and it would not be surprising to see Mary Beth Feldman in the circle for one of those.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. This time the breaking ball fooling Watson.
So to know that they can get to her the way that they did in the top of the third leaves room for optimism tomorrow if they do face her in one of those two games.
I agree, but someone we also might see potentially tonight or tomorrow is Kate DeSimone. She has eventually started to break into the Spartan rotation, or at the very least helping out more from the bullpen, and has also found more games in the field starting at first base as the first base player for tonight. She takes the first pitch. It's 0-1. This one's going to get down for a base hit. That'll increase her average from 500 to a little bit higher.
Yeah, well-placed ball there by DeSimone, and encouraging for UT, needing to muster up some offense here to get this game tied, as it brings up the number 9 hitter, Steph Ballmer.
Ballmer has a runner on with one away. I'm interested to see whether Ballmer might try to put a bunt down, maybe try to catch Palm Beach off guard. You know, Ballmer has some speed, can try to make the run to first. And especially softball tendencies, you see small ball working a little bit more often. There's more fielding variance. On plays exactly like that, takes a weird hop away from Watterson into the outfield, and 2 on with 1 away for the top of the order.
That's very much like the ball that I called earlier in the game as too hot to handle. I really don't know that you can justify scoring an error because that ball was moving so quickly. Credit her for trying to get her glove up that quickly. And I'm talking about Dallas Watterson, the third base player, but that ball had eyes. It was going to go. And the Spartans all of a sudden back to the top of the order, and 2 runners on now.
First pitch taken, and just checking to make sure the runners are going. A good eye from Maceda. And yeah, on that previous play, to quote John Boyce, I'd call that play a bloodbath because it takes such a bad bounce. It is heartbreaking for any pitcher in the circle to see that one get away. 2-0 here. 2 early takes has gotten Fantone ahead in the count. And her first at-bat, she led the game with a single before eventually being out on a fielder's choice from the next hitter. And Fantone up 3-0, so we could see the Spartans load the bases for Lily Keister.
And for the record, Ballmer, it is credited as an error, and put me on the record as objecting to that. The Spartans don't really care what you score it. All they know is they've got 2 runners on here and a chance with their leadoff hitter at the plate and Lily Keister on deck, potentially tie this game up.
That's what they'll be hoping for. The 3-0 taking all the way, and now it's turned to a 3-1 count for Fantone. This one fouled away, and now the count is full. And I think that one rolled behind the netting. If our friend Sam Schneider was here, he'd probably play a car alarm over the soundboard as a fun little joke. Thankfully, the parked cars are far enough away that foul balls really don't get in the way for them at all. Full count here from Arturo. This one's going to be lined and caught at short. The throw to first, not in time. They nearly had a double play, but instead it's just a great grab for the second out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Huge credit there to Avoni Rodriguez, the shortstop. Not only the catch, but the presence to try the throw across the diamond to first base, albeit not in time, but really nice play by her defensively.
I'll say in a spot like that, it definitely saved a run from scoring. That would have gotten down and probably been too hard for Rodriguez to get home in time, especially with a runner like DeSimone on base. This one's going to be grounded to third. Will this end the inning? Yes, it will. So the fire is put out. Spartans will strand 2. And I have to say, that play from Avoni Rodriguez could go down as one of the most important of the game. Spartans trail by 1 as we enter the top of the 4th inning, and we're already halfway through.
I
am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
So we are back. More Tampa Spartans softball at the Namoli Family Stadium. Day has quickly shifted tonight, and the temperature is still pretty warm out here. It still says that we're around 83 degrees with a nice 85-degree feel. So still pretty warm as we get the lights going on one of the early home stretches and the opener for the Sunshine State Conference play for the Spartans. This one's going to be taken just outside for ball one.
That's Dallas Watterson, who is 0 for 1 with a ground out in the second inning. And a reminder that tomorrow these teams will play a doubleheader here starting at 12 noon. And that obviously will be right here on TampaSpartans.tv.
Make sure you check that live because it'll be fun to see the conclusion of this series. 2-0 count here, and it is going to go to 3 as this one is just a little low. Feldman was hit around in the previous inning. Some well-placed balls into the outfield eventually brought a run home, but Feldman kept the damage at 1, then stranded the bases loaded from 1 away.
And I believe that Mary Beth Feldman had thrown 20 pitches through the first 2 innings and then threw 23 in the third alone.
And ball 4, so it's going to take a few more pitches at least to get out of this inning after the 5-pitch walk to start it off. But indeed, pitch counts are less, I think, prevalent in softball in a way because pitchers can go the distance more often than not. And we've seen Feldman, without a sweat, put on 100 and 110 pitch days throughout tough 7 innings.
But for this to be the top of the 4th and she's already issued 2 walks, that's a little un-Feldman-like. As you see, Chevalier went out there to have a conference with her pitcher.
And I agree it's un-Feldman-like. She only had 2 walks entering the game through 10 innings this season. Runner on, no one out. We'll see if Palm Beach tries to send the runner. Well, the runner won't be able to. This one's flown directly out to Galehouse and right. That's the at-bat I think that Mary Beth Feldman needs, just to get a quick fly out, 1 pitch and 1 out. Just get back into the rhythm, get back in the mojo. Gives you the confidence to pitch to contact more because, you know, when you concede a couple hits in a row, that can get you thinking, okay, I've got to be careful. I have to pitch around more.
That'll bring up Elisa Grande, who had drawn the first walk from Feldman in the 3rd inning.
This one's taken for strike 1. The designated player looking for a chance to try to help Palm Beach extend the lead early on. Good framing from Chevalier, and it worked. 0-2, and I will say, it looked a little bit outside, but the frame probably gave the benefit of the doubt. Feldman looking for a potential second strikeout of the game here. That time just high. Didn't get the swing and miss from the fastball. Counting today, 12 strikeouts in the season for Feldman from the circle. This one's going to be blooped to center, but enough time to catch it on the run. A good play by Keister. 2 away.
Nicely hit ball by Grande, though. And that'll bring up the number 8 hitter, Bella O'Connor. freshman from up in Dallas, Georgia, as she looks down the third base line to her coach, Ty Singleton.
O'Connor got a hit last time and would later score the only run for Palm Beach Atlantic. Strike one. Not fully sure if that was O'Connor going around or the pitch getting to the bottom of the zone. And I think maybe clarification being requested from the third base coach for Palm Beach Atlantic. 0-1 here for O'Connor. This one's going to be grounded up the middle. What a play! The unassisted force out at second off an incredible dive from Stephanie Ballmer. Wow. I'm almost speechless because you have to go fully extended on that play, makes the grab, and is able to use her glove to get the force out on the base.
Yeah, put that one on the highlight reel, and it's a nice way to punctuate ending the inning as we're through 3.5 now, and Palm Beach Atlantic leading it 1-0.
And we're back at the University of Tampa. Bottom of the fourth inning here. And I will say, Bruce, this current 1-0 scoreline is the first time the Spartans have actually trailed in a game all season. The previous time they conceded runs, they were holding on to a 3-0 lead, and that lead only dropped to 3-2 before ballooning back up to a 13-2 victory against West Florida. The 3-4-5 hitters are going to look to break into that. Russo leading off for the Spartans. That one's taken for strike one, just alone in the zone. Tough at bat last time for Russo. Grounded into a double play to end the first inning. Let's see if she can bounce back here. Arturo, 41 pitches from the circle. Good start from her. This one's grounded to short and one away.
Russo has power, but she went over the top of the ball on that one, and had she made better contact, could have made the difference. But as a result, we're going to see the number 4 hitter, Cameron Winninger, with the bases empty.
We'll see what Cameron can do here. One away. That one's taken for ball one.
She grounded out to third base back in the second inning.
She'll be hoping for at least some better contact or potentially better bounce with one away here. This one's going to get down potentially, but it's going to get down right into Millett's glove, as it actually did have some carry behind it. 2 away.
Tell you what, Cambria Arturo is putting together a nice little game for herself here in the circle. And the Spartans, I think, starting to feel just a little bit of frustration. Good command from Arturo here in the bottom of the fourth.
Arturo's trusting the defense, and it has been working well. Galehouse struck out last time. She has a chance with 2 away to try to get something going for the Spartans. She has 1 home run to start the season. It would be great if she had enough power to clear the fences, but that happens once in a blue moon. That one's going to be grounded to short. That'll be a very tough throw, and Galehouse beats it out by a step. Good effort from Rodriguez, having to make a very difficult play, but Galehouse has enough speed on the base path to get to first in time.
Yeah, and that's why you have to run out every batted ball. That's exactly what made the difference. Had Galehouse shown just the slightest bit of doubt or frustration, we'd be talking about an out instead of a base runner. And so it sets up for Lexi Chevalier here.
Two away, and Chevalier will get an opportunity, potentially, to try to tie this game. Taken outside, ball one. Last time Chevalier was at bat, she flew out to left. Just a little bit under 500 now for the season, but a good start for her. This one gets in the dirt. Galehouse safe at second as this one kicks away. It won't go far enough from Rodriguez or Bayer to prompt a extra base for Galehouse, but she gets to scoring position.
You know, a 1-0 lead is never safe, and I think the Spartans have established themselves enough that you just can never count them out, and you just always feel like they're just lurking, they're just hanging around. It just takes one pitch, one wrong pitch, change the complexion of the game. And in this particular case, that's what Lexi Chevalier is looking for. But bigger picture, I think head coach Leslie Cantor not pushing the panic button, having confidence in her players, and just waiting for one of them or one or more of them to break through.
Again, the Spartans team, you can trust them to break through in tough spots. So that's probably a reason that, again, she's exercising caution. We still have 3 potential full at-bats yet to go for the Spartans, as this one swung and fouled into the dirt. Or if it was a miss, just not far enough for Galehouse to try getting to third on it. But a tricky 2-2 count here with a runner on second and 2 away. 2s across the board for the player who plays in position number 2. Swung on and missed. The throw to first is just a formality, and the side is retired. The Spartans will strand another. And Palm Beach still leads as we enter the 5th inning right after this.
I
am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create.
Mullet leads off for the Sailfish. And, well, for the first time this season, the Spartans are actually trailing pretty deep into a game. Their offense have gotten a few runners aboard, but just haven't converted. Chalked it up to the abilities of Arturo and some bad BABIP luck.
Yeah, and as I said when it was going on, that 3rd inning, Palm Beach, short of scoring more than 1 run, really tried to squeeze everything out of it that they could. Interestingly enough, that being said, each team has 3 hits so far in the game.
It's actually 4 for Palm Beach. Just one, I think, minor error on the scoreboard out there. It also could be right, though. Not sure if the live stats is always correct, but I believe it is 4 hits. Unless one of the hits earlier got called a fielder's choice.
Gracie Mullet pops that up. Nicely caught by Balmer.
A good job by Feldman to get the lead out. It can always be tough to read foul balls sometimes, or the fly little pop-outs like that, but that one was pretty simple. And the dark sky, I think, will certainly help that because the ball will shine a little brighter.
That brings up the leadoff hitter, Kendall Bear. She's 1 for 2, having singled in the 3rd after a first inning ground out.
That was one of the hits that helped Palm Beach bring a run home. And, of course, they're updating the scoreboard to match the live stats. You can always check out Tampa live stats live in the game if you have any pressing questions about stats. For instance, if you're interested about Tampa's average with 2 away, it's 250. That's the same as Palm Beach, who have 250. Both teams 1 for 4 with 2 outs. This one fouled away. It's 0-2 now for Bear.
The longer that this game goes along, you have to wonder if Mary Beth Feldman isn't maybe regaining her confidence and saying, okay, I got the bad stuff out of me. Now I'm just waiting for the bats to come alive.
That one gets down and foul. A good attempt to try to grab it by Wininger, but just a few inches too high on that foul.
If that indeed is the way that things go, then it's just a matter of the Spartans' bats needing to just do just a little bit, just enough to at least tie the game, if not get the go-ahead run. And Feldman does seem to be settling in rather nicely the last inning and so far here in the top of the 5th.
And it's always important just to be able to regain confidence, and Feldman's the type of player who's able to do so quite easily and has done so here. Although a longer at bat as Bear has kept herself alive, will now face another 1-2 from Mary Beth Feldman.
And I think it's important that they didn't push the panic button. Yes, she gave up a run. Yes, the bases were loaded, but could have been much, much worse, and you don't want to overreact in a situation like that, especially with a veteran pitcher like Feldman, who's kind of been there, done that, and can almost self-correct.
That one drops. It's ball 3 now. Swung on and missed. That's an important strikeout. Second of the game for Feldman, and 2 away in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, as much of a shot in the arm as it is for Feldman, Kendall Bear, you can see, very devastated by seeing her at bat end the way that it did. And so now 2 out, and that's going to be a base hit.
Gets down right down the middle in truly no man's land.
Bree Rodriguez keeps things alive for Palm Beach Atlantic in the top of the 5th.
That's good news for her. Her second hit, giving her a nice day alongside that RBI that gave Palm Beach the lead earlier. That now will bring up another Palm Beach hitter in Hetmanek. She'll foul this first pitch off. Hetmanek got the first hit of the game for Palm Beach with a single back in the first, struck out in the 3rd inning with the bases loaded. Hetmanek with a little blooper to left, and it just gets down. It was caught, and then it was not. Fantona to make a quick run forward to get it, and in doing so, I don't think had enough time to get her glove in the right position to make the catch. So she had to catch it sort of like a basket catch there, and it just slipped out.
Yeah, and that's particularly tough when you've got 2 outs up on the board and all of a sudden there's 2 runners on instead of the teams switching and UT going back on offense. So tough error there.
Fantone's always a good outfielder as well. Those errors are few and far between. It's not good when it happens in a time like this, sadly. 1-1 as this one's taken outside. Feldman looking to battle back and get out of the jam that is starting to form. Well, Palm Beach is fancying another peanut butter jelly sandwich to take a 2-0 lead. This one, the check swing foul. It's 1-2, and that's the worst case scenario for a hitter. You check your swing, you're ready to pull back, and the ball bounces backward off that bat as a foul ball.
Big pitch coming up here. Feldman 1-2 with 2 outs and 2 on.
The frame attempt just misses. Great attempt from Chevalier. So we're going to go 2-2 here.
Make no mistake, this is a critical moment in the game for both teams. Let's see how Feldman responds.
A true high leverage pitch. The 2-2. This one's going to get down and right. Galehouse makes the catch. They're going to say it is an out. A very close play. Galehouse making a dive and getting the catch to prevent a run from scoring, potentially two. Getting out of the jam, I'll say phew. That was very close. Spartans still trail, but now have a chance in the bottom of the fifth. Three hits, 3 strikeouts, 51 pitches. Arturo, a great start from the circle today, Bruce. She's been keeping her pitch count low and has been tough for the Spartans to deal with, including...
We're going to see a pinch hitter here, Avery Perkins. Leslie Cantor shaking things up in her lineup. So we were supposed to see Caroline Watson, and instead they're going to go to Perkins.
Strike one taken. It's Perkins' first at-bat of the season. So we'll see how this move from Cantor turns out. They may be going for the left-right platoon in this at-bat here. But we'll see what Perkins can do. Is now she is down 0-2.
It's an interesting choice in terms of setting someone up critical point in the game like this who has not had an at-bat so far in the season. Now granted, Avery Perkins this is not her first college game ever, but at the same time, it is still a baptism by fire in a sense. She's hanging in there at 1-2.
Pretty good season for her. Went .351 with a .383 on base and .439 slugging. So she has a pretty solid bat, but it won't work this time. Swing and a miss, strike 3. If Arturo was upset about not getting the previous call on a check swing, she did get the full swing that time. What a way. Kate DeSimone back in the game. Got a single last time. And DeSimone's hit was, I think, a spark for the Spartans to try to get the offense going. I know Cantor would love that to happen again.
Arturo bounced that one in there. And the catcher wanting a new ball as a result from home plate umpire Tyrone Miller.
Let's see what DeSimone can do now with the 1-0 count. She'll take and go up 2-0 here.
That pitch was way outside, and at this pace, the Spartans are saying, we'll take a base runner however it comes. A walk, hit by pitch, base hit. They need to get something going before time becomes a factor.
Looked like a screwball that time from Arturo with some opposite side break, causing the big swing and miss from DeSimone. Here's the 2-1. This one fouled back. That one would have run right to the booth if the net and window weren't in the way. That actually happened to me over summer when I was covering baseball for the Elmira Pioneers. A foul ball went right into the booth. I was able to duck out of the way, but got a free souvenir in the end. 2-2 here to DeSimone. This one's going to be lined for another base hit for DeSimone, right down the middle. That'll put one on with one away for Stephanie Ballmer.
Well, Captain Obvious, it's obviously an important base hit for UT, but it's not going to mean much if they can't do anything with it. So let's see how Steph Ballmer responds, number 9 hitter.
I'll say for Cantor, the Spartans are worrying 0 for 6 today with runners on base. That's not the type of clutch hitting the Spartans are known for, nor what you want to see. This one taken just outside for ball 1. Ballmer hasn't had an RBI yet this season, but has converted with 4 doubles out of her 5 hits. A double would definitely be enough to bring DeSimone home, potentially. This one a bit low, but still in the zone. It's strike 1. Throwing me off just a little bit. Miller likes to take an extra second before getting the call right, but I do have to say it's good to take that extra second to make sure you're getting the call right.
Yeah, I don't want to say especially in a game this close because it should be the attitude every game, but I'm going to say it anyways, especially in a game this close.
You always want the best officiating possible. And I will say, I think these umpires have done well to give strikes and give balls. No clear discrepancy, and even for the true zone, it doesn't feel like any inside-outside pitches have any bias against them. 1-2 here for Ballmer. Arturo taking actually a little time in this one. This one popped up. Will this play be playable? No, it's going to bounce over the dugout down to the concession stand.
Yeah, and I was watching Kate DeSimone to see if it looks like they're going to send her or not, and if they're going to, she's sure doing a great job of a softball version of a poker face because not showing anything that would indicate that she's going to run.
Outside, and I think they were being careful to make sure DeSimone didn't try to steal it there. And I will say, good grab by Maseda that almost bounced out of her glove. That would not have been good if it did, because DeSimone would have certainly got to second.
And I think Spartans fans want to see the stolen base, but I think Leslie Cantor is being really careful with this at-bat.
This one low, DeSimone will go now, and out. That was a late jump, I think, unfortunately. And good enough reaction from Maseda to get the ball back as we now have a full count with 2 away.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because it did look like Maseda mishandled the ball just enough behind the plate that I thought that was going to make the difference and that DeSimone would have been into second in time.
This one's going to be grounded over to third. The throw takes a weird hop, but it is still recovered by O'Connor. And so with that, the Spartans are once again still trailing as we enter the next inning. An unlucky end of the inning for the Spartans. We'll be back with more on TampaSpartans.tv.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive.
Spartans still trailing. Watterson leading off for Palm Beach. Mary Beth Fellman, 76 pitches in 5 innings.
Obviously, this is a real crucial juncture now because down to what potentially are the final 2 innings, and both teams want to score at this point. I don't know that Palm Beach Atlantic is going to be comfortable trying to take the 1-0 victory. And Mary Beth Feldman knows that. This is a case, though, Taylor, of where some of the Sailfish hitters have to be careful to not say, yeah, that's right, let's get a bunch of offense here and swing for the fences, especially knowing that this is not a home run ballpark and just important to get on base.
And I agree, getting on base is going to be important because, again, we only saw one home run here the entirety of last season. It's better to play small ball and bring runs home that way. And also good to utilize discipline and try to work some walks. They've actually done so against Feldman, drawing 2 so far. It'll be tricky for Watterson, as she's currently still down 1-2. And this one's fouled back. Now 1-2 for Feldman. This one's going to be lined and caught at first base by Kate DeSimone.
Nice job by DeSimone there, because if you're not paying attention on those, it's either going to turn into a base hit or you're going to look down too late, bobble it. Base runner's going to get aboard, and that little bit of drifting attention-wise is going to be your downfall.
That's where he can get in trouble as the first pitch is taken for strike 1 by Maceda. We saw her make a good play behind home plate to get the runner out at second to end the most recent inning. Well, to help end, it was the second out. 0 for 2 at the plate with a ground out and fly out. Feldman would like to make it 0 for 3 with a strikeout, which is currently up 0-2. From the circle, here's the 0-2 pitch. This one's going to be blooped and gets down for a base hit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. The Sailfish put together some base hits. They'll manufacture a second run. And with only 1 out, they've got themselves a runner aboard here. And the confidence just continues to build. That's 6 hits for them now.
So a runner on first with 1 away. Tampa got 1 double play earlier, and a second one could give them momentum as they would enter the bottom of the 6th. Fantone doesn't have a good enough arm to make an instant play at first base for a double play, but all you needed there was the quick second out of the inning, and indeed, they get that.
I think
2
the
away.
other thing, Taylor, is that I talked before about if they see Mary Beth Feldman tomorrow, but bottom line is they know they've got a doubleheader against the Spartans tomorrow, and I think for the Sailfish, it's just kind of sending a message, giving themselves a shot in the arm that we can hang with UT.
I think no matter the result, just being able to keep Tampa's bats quiet this long is huge, because Tampa has scored a lot of runs this season. In all games except 1, they've put 8 on the board, and they have kept them shut out through 5 innings and potentially could do so through 6. That gives them a load of confidence as they come into the future games tomorrow, with potentially an even better pitcher eventually taking the mound, and Karen Vasquez, who through 20 innings has a 1.05 ERA. From Feldman, the 1-1, looking to try to get out of the inning. I think that will, as Galehouse tracks and makes the catch. Palm Beach gets another runner on base, but that runner is stranded, and the Spartans have 6 outs remaining as we enter the bottom of the 6th.
I pledged.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
And we are back at Namoli Family Stadium. I'm Taylor Sorley alongside Bruce Wozniak. Palm Beach holds on to a one-run lead. The Spartans have been held scoreless through 5. And with the top 3 due up, we'll see if the Spartans can avoid being scoreless through 6. Arturo back in the circle. 67 pitches, 4 hits and 4 strikeouts. Very efficient and very, very good. Leading off for the Spartans, it's Lauren Fantone. One and 2 on the day. That one taken low, ball 1. A nice crowd has showed up for the 3rd Spartan home game of the season for softball. We also, of course, mentioned expect to see some Palm Beach fans, and they have shown as well. I know they're excited at the strong start to the weekend series for the Sailfish. 2-0 here taken for Fantone. And while the Spartans have had a couple agonizing times they've stranded runners, Palm Beach have actually stranded more, 7-3 in terms of runners left on base. Fantone is going to go up 3-0 in the count, looking to draw a walk here, and they might be making a call to the bullpen as we're going to see Palm Beach with a mound visit.
And Larkin Maceda started heading out there to talk to Cambria Arturo, and I'd be surprised if they take Arturo out. She's really put together quite a nice game here this evening, and I think that was just kind of a shake it off, get back into this at-bat, and let's keep the door closed on the Spartans hitters.
I agree. And I think it may have fooled everyone here. They potentially thought that previous pitch was ball 4. That's when you normally see the mound visit, after the ball 4 pitch for the opening walk. But actually called it a pitch early, and maybe it's helped. 3-1 after that strike. Oh, circle visit. Have to get the terminology right. This one's going to be grounded, and it's sharp and up the middle. Fantone with the leadoff single. And that'll bring up Lily Keister with no one out.
Tell you, Lauren Fantone is so reliable in that leadoff hitter spot. 2 for 3 now in this game, and Lily Keister very happy to come to the plate and see her teammate down there, and the door just open enough that UT is going to do everything they can to see, is this the inning that we've been waiting to break things open?
Fantone is able to get to second as Keister drops the bunt. And Tampa's trying to say that she's safe at first. In fact, she is.
Yeah, it was an interesting play there because Kendall Bear had come over to cover, and you saw her footwork not solid and questionable enough that the timing of it looked like it was such that the runner is safe. And so, as I've said, UT will take a break any way they can get it, and that might be what they have been waiting for.
So initially, we had Cantor and crew a little bit upset about the original call, and now same for Palm Beach Atlantic. Their head coach is going to head out there and talk as the fielders will enter the circle and discuss with Arturo what to do next.
Yeah, and you can see as Ty Singleton is pleading his case with Pete DeRosa, the umpire, is mimicking exactly what happened and lifting that foot up to say the foot was off the bag at the same time that the runner got there. And it's obviously not going to overturn the call, but very interesting turn of events here.
Indeed. That's going to bring up Russo with 2 on and no one out. Now, Russo is a power hitter, but I imagine she's going to try to drop a bunt and advance the runners. Indeed, she's going to do just that. It's perfectly down the first base line, and will do the perfect job to move both runners up a base.
And a nice job there by UT to recognize the opportunity to get, in this case, 2 runners into scoring position. And you do it at a time when your number 4 hitter is coming to the plate. So the door definitely open here for the Spartans. And initially all they're looking to do is get the game tied for starters.
Winninger with 1 away will have that opportunity. But yeah, Russo, great bunt there. Gets it down just at the perfect angle to force the first base player to make a play and not let it try to roll foul. The 1-0, this one's ripped and caught. Another great grab by Rodriguez. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, and if you noticed, when she made the grab, she right away looked at second base and was hoping to get Keister out, but there was nobody covering.
That's the only downside of having to run like this, being careful to not be overexposed on one side of the field. They're playing very cautiously, leaving a lot of space in the center in terms of positioning. And that's the unfortunate reason that there wasn't a double play opportunity, as Keister would have been out if there was a runner there. This one popped up, and it is bopped. It is dropped. Spartans take an unlikely lead off an error. And I will say, we have seen Rodriguez make 2 big plays in this game, but unfortunately for her, I think she's only going to be remembering that one. And that's just the disappointing thing about sports. One mistake can ruin a good day. Incredible job fielding throughout the entire start, but this drop has just given the Spartans the lead.
Yeah, it's an understatement to say how huge that drop is. Very unexpected, And I think the Spartans have just been so patient this whole game, knowing that something was going to break at some point. It's unfortunate if you're a Sailfish fan that that's the kind of break that it was. But all of a sudden, the Spartans go from scoreless, and how are we going to break through and get this game tied to, wow, look at that, now we're up by 1.
Heartbreaking for Rodriguez. Sailfish will have a chance in the top of the 7th, but, I mean, that's a painful way to concede a lead. And for the Spartans, you mentioned it, they'll take it any way they can get it.
But I said before about that's why you always run out any batted ball. That's why the runners have to continue going to the plate. As much as that looked like it was going to be a routine pop-up, you just can't assume that it's going to be caught 100% of the time and give up. Otherwise, you don't have the 2-1 lead. You play it safe, you hold your base, or you start heading towards the dugout. It looks like our inning is ending, and instead the Spartans runners had the wherewithal to continue home. Now they've got themselves a 1-run lead.
And I think the big play on that was Fantone still running into home even as the pop-out was in order. Because if she decided to just wait at third and just kind of relax, thinking, okay, it's just going to be the end of the inning, we'd only have a 1-run game.
Exactly.
1-1 with runners at the corners.
Exactly.
And that's the spot you don't want to be in if you're the Spartans. You're very glad that Fantone was like, yep, we're going to run home, and even if it's a pop-out, we'll just head back home. Because it turned into the run. The 3-1 swing and miss. The stolen base is completed. Good job by Galehouse to get to second.
I'll tell you, Taylor, as much as your heart goes out seeing an infielder make a drop like that, you really have to feel for Cambria Arturo. She's just pitched such a nice game in the circle for the Sailfish, and for her to have that happen behind her is really unfortunate.
This one ripped very hard foul, and indeed, for Arturo, if this turns out to be the losing 2 runs, they are going to be unearned, but it is going to count on the loss sheet for her record, which is just disappointing because she's honestly done nothing wrong pretty much all night. Incredible job in the circle. I know definitely the Spartans won't be wanting to face her again on Saturday. Full count. This one's going to be grounded to third. The throw to first. This one's high, but they will make the catch in time. It brought O'Connor's foot off the bag, but it got back down to get the final out. So, we're going to be entering a last chance opportunity for the Sailfish as they concede 2 off one unfortunate play. We'll be back with more Tampa Spartans softball and Sunshine State Conference softball on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And we are back, and I'll say one pitch can change the game, and that's what happened there, an unfortunate, costly drop. And it's going to be tough for Palm Beach to come back from this.
It is. It is. It's a huge, huge swing of emotions to think that they were 4 outs away from winning the game, and all of a sudden they're 3 outs away from losing the game, and looking at the top of the 7th that they've got to come up with something here. Otherwise, the great game that they had put together goes out the window.
This one's fouled away, 0-2 to start for Mullet. It's the 9-1-2 hitters. Mullet, Byer, and Rodriguez due up. And, of course, there's multiple Rodriguezes for Palm Beach. The Rodriguez that will see action no matter what is going to be Brianna Rodriguez, number 2.
And, you know, Taylor, all the cliches will come out now. You have to have a short memory, got to bear down, but it's really easier said than done. That's very heartbreaking for the Sailfish to be in the position that they are, considering where they thought they were about to be.
And indeed, softball, baseball, no matter what sport, it's truly a game of emotions. The mental game is almost as important as the game that's actually being played on the field, and that is a death blow to any morale and positive vibes you're carrying when you make an unfortunate error like that. And even though it was good, we saw the team, I think, able to console Rodriguez after the drop, but still, that's not going to help them out that much.
But then on the flip side, the added confidence that it gives to the Spartans, who had not written themselves off, had not given up. They weren't hanging their heads. But all that does is just gives them even more confidence, despite this base hit. And, you know, obviously that's what the Sailfish need. But the Spartans, they're not lacking for confidence at this point.
And you have to stay confident. You have to stay aggressive. And, by the way, they are going to be making a change. Fellman's day will be done with 6 completed innings, 7 hit, 1 earned, 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And Galehouse is going to be moving from right field and taking the circle.
Yeah, I think that's a case of Leslie Cantor saying, let's not take any chances. She saw that Feldman got hit a little bit in the 3rd inning, and the leadoff hitter aboard. You want to just have someone just shut the door right now and not give Palm Beach Atlantic any opportunity for hope. And she knows that Galehouse will reward her with the move. She obviously has a tremendous resume behind her, does Mariah Galehouse. And hoping that she'll come in and close out this top of the 7th and the game.
Earlier this season, Galehouse was part of combined no-hitter/perfect game for the Spartans, where in 5 innings they didn't concede a single base runner. However, it does carry the 5-inning asterisk, but it was a great effort of 4 innings from Galehouse, and I believe they handed it off to Katie Simone for that final inning in a pretty big Spartan victory. They're going to be hoping that Galehouse remains just as elite as she always is from the circle to get the final 3 outs here. 0-1 taken by Byer, who's 1 for 3 today.
And if you're keeping score at home with Galehouse coming into pitch now, Galehouse was playing right field, and Mackenzie Allen is now playing right field for UT.
Good to see Allen out in right field. Allen is a .667 average in 2 games started for the Spartans. Pretty good at the plate and also good defending. Was it Allen who was battling through an injury at times last year?
Indeed.
I believe she had a leg brace on, but still was pretty dangerous in the base paths.
Yep.
So good to see a fully healthy Allen out here. This one's grounded to third. The Spartans get 1, and they'll get the lead out here. Still the tying run at first base now being in the form of Byer.
You know, the other strategy here, of course, Leslie Cantor changing pitchers, is that these hitters have not seen Mariah Galehouse so far in this game. So all of a sudden the edge goes to the Spartans as the number 2 hitter, Bree Rodriguez, now up to bat. And she is 2 for 3 in this game.
The off-speed landing perfectly down the middle. It's 0-2. And indeed, to be able to call upon Galehouse and then use her as the Game 1 starter tomorrow from the circle is always something good that you can do here. This one just misses for ball 1. But that extra factor could be helping Galehouse get early in these counts, playing a role and trying to get a save opportunity here.
This is also challenging if you're Bree Rodriguez in that there is a runner at first, and you hit that ball the wrong way, and it could be an inning-ending double play.
And not just the inning, it would be a game-ending double play, which is the true worst-case scenario. 2-2 again after Rodriguez stayed alive. Hetmanek would be on deck. This one's going to be grounded to DeSimone, and it takes an unlucky hop. So the fielding woes continue. This time it's the Spartans on the wrong end, as it just takes a weird hop away from DeSimone and in the direction where she can't make a tag after recovering it.
Certainly the Sailfish are happy to see things not bounce Tampa's way defensively, although it's certainly a big difference when an error leads to 2 runs scored.
Then 2 runners aboard. They certainly were owed one. And we'll see if they can take advantage. 0-1 fouled away by Hetmanek. And by the way, on deck is a player who certainly would love an opportunity, Ivani Rodriguez.
Probably more than anyone.
They drop the bunt, and it will be bases loaded. And they're going to actually looking about making a call here about her being out. Was her foot out of the... Did she move too early, I think, on her bunting motion? That was
Leslie
the question.
Cantor pleading her case with the home plate umpire, Tyrone Miller, and now his colleague, Peter Rose, is going to come in and join the conversation. Let's see what Miller rules here.
So they might just be ruling it as a foul ball or a automatic strike because of that. It's always interesting to see these violations, and it's tough because we don't have someone on the ground who can quickly relay it up to us in the booth.
Well, and I think the fact that Kendall Bear has gone back to second is an indication that it's obviously not going to stand, as now you see coming back into the batter's box.
So I think she did just take a step too early, and they're just going to call that a violation. It won't be an out, which is good because it can be out sometimes, but it, I think, will be counted either a foul ball or they just redo the pitch. No, it's going to be counted a strike. She didn't go this time. It's 1-2. They tried a little pickoff attempt as Beyer had gone far off the base path, but she's going to be back safe.
I'll tell you, that rabbit's foot is getting passed around here, and the Spartans had it in their possession there with what looked like it was about to be a bases-loaded situation.
This one fouled away. The rabbit's foot acting like a hot potato at this stage. Who's going to end up with it last? In this case, you do want to get burned, as you do want the good luck. 0-2 after the other foul from Hetmanek. Ooh, this one just inside. You know, in softball, the batters love to take a run-up for their swings or bunts, and that time you're running straight at a pitch that's veering inside. That can be a little scary.
And Galehouse, I noticed, had delivered that pitch very, very quickly.
This one fouled away, and even though we know Fantone can track those down, it's going to be a little bit behind that time.
And let's see how much time she takes in between pitches here, referring to Mariah Galehouse.
I believe it'll be
go to the rosin bag.
Looks like a 2-2 count here. This one's going to be grounded to first. DeSimone just gets the lead runner with the tag. Had a potential opportunity for the force out, but not going to risk it because a wild throw would certainly tie the game. And also there was no opportunity for a double play. So simple just to get the first out and make sure the runners don't try to get home. As now, Ivani Rodriguez, who's been great on defense throughout the entire game except for that unfortunate error in the bottom of the 6th inning, has a chance in the top of the 7th to pay it back. Strike one taken down the middle. Rodriguez is also 0 for 3 today, but she's put the ball in play every single time. Swung on and missed, fooled by the changeup. 2 away here.
Yeah, and just like the defensive miscue, I think that particular pitch, she'd love to have that one back. Talking about Ivani Rodriguez.
Spartans looking to close it out. Another high leverage spot. The 0-2. This one's going to be grounded to Russo. Russo comes up with it, And the Spartans take victory from the jaws of defeat. And for the Sailfish, they might argue that it was the other way around, that they found defeat from the jaws of victory. A heartbreaking loss for the Sailfish, a near scare for the Spartans as they advance to 6-0 for the campaign. The Sailfish will need to wait for tomorrow for their 6th win. They're 5-8, exiting tonight's first game.
Yeah, and that was really a tale of two games, because this was going to be all Palm Beach Atlantic most of the way. It looked like they were going to cruise to what would have been the Spartans' first defeat of the season. That's how obvious one play can change the complexion of an entire game. And UT will take it, especially going into tomorrow, knowing that they've got a doubleheader against what has proven is going to be a tough Palm Beach Atlantic team. And they're going to sleep a little easier and exhale on their way back to the victorious dugout as UT escapes with a 2-1 victory.
And looking at the final scores for each team, Tampa 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors. Palm Beach 1 run, 7 hits, and 3 errors. And that's why we love this game, Bruce. One play can change everything. It's as equally rewarding and heartbreaking. Mary Beth Feldman will get the victory in a very close contest. Mariah Galehouse comes in and gets a save. That's her first of the season because she's only made starts. That's her first time she's come into the game as a high-leverage reliever. For Palm Beach Atlantic, disappointing for Arturo. She'll be given the loss with no earned runs. That's the worst feeling as a pitcher, when you haven't conceded technically anything, and you do have to take the loss.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't overlook Mariah Galehouse coming in and closing the door. And as I had said when the game was going on, the fact that the Sailfish had not seen her to that point, and also the confidence that Leslie Cantor showed in going to Galehouse and saying, Feldman's done a good job, but I just need somebody that is going to lock this thing down for us. And Galehouse made her look good and comes through with what ends up being a closeout, top of the 7th. Spartans don't have to bat in the bottom half of the inning, and they stay perfect so far in the 2023 season.
I think that's all you can ask for, just to get the win. At the end of the day, the Spartans did just that. I'm Taylor Storthy, alongside Bruce Wozniak. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for more Spartan softball as they embark on another doubleheader in the Sunshine State Conference.